He ruled the underworld with an iron fist. She vanished without a word. But when he broke down her door searching for answers, a tiny voice called him Daddy. The most dangerous man in the city just discovered he's a father. And the woman who ran from his world? She's about to learn that some men don't let go. Ever. This is the story of a mafia king who would burn his empire to ash. For the family he never knew he had. Welcome back to another unforgettable Afro-Korean story. Today's tale will break your heart and put it back together in ways you never expected. If you love emotional mafia romance with powerful twists, please subscribe and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support means everything. Now, let's dive into a story about secrets, second chances, and a love that refused to die. She heard the lock break before she heard his voice. That's how she knew it was him. Not a knock, not a warning. Just the brutal efficiency of a man who didn't ask permission to enter rooms. Or lives. Naima froze in the kitchen, her son balanced on her hip, a bottle of warm milk in her trembling hand. 8 months old. Ezra had his father's eyes. She'd memorized every dangerous shade of brown in those irises, back when she thought love could save monsters. It couldn't. The door swung open. And there he was. Kang Min-ho. The man she'd loved. The man she'd fled. The crime lord who owned half the city's underground and all of its fear. He stood in her doorway like a wound reopened. 6 feet of controlled violence wrapped in a black suit that cost more than her rent. His hair was longer now, touching his collar. There were new shadows under his eyes. But his presence, God, his presence, still sucked the oxygen from the room. Naima. Her name on his lips felt like a knife dragged slowly across old scars. She didn't move. Couldn't. Ezra gurgled happily in her arms, oblivious to the way the world had just tilted sideways. Minho's gaze swept the apartment. Small, clean, painfully ordinary. Nothing like the penthouse they'd shared, where the city lights had painted her skin gold, and his mouth had written poetry in the dark. You changed your number. His voice was winter. Deleted your socials, moved 3 times in 6 months. He stepped inside. The door closed behind him with a quiet click that sounded like a cell locking. I'm impressed, he continued, moving through her tiny living space like smoke. Most people can't hide from me for 3 days. You lasted a year. Naima's throat was dry. Minho, were you going to tell me? The question landed like a grenade. She looked at him. Really looked. And saw it. The fracture in his armor. The way his jaw tightened. The slight tremor in his hands that he hid by sliding them into his pockets. He knew. Somehow he knew. Tell you what? Her voice came out steadier than she felt. Minho's laugh was bitter. Don't insult us both. He took another step. Closer now. Close enough that she could smell his cologne. Cedar and smoke and expensive things. Close enough to see the fury and hurt warring in those beautiful, terrible eyes. I've spent a year wondering what I did wrong, he said quietly. Dangerously. A year thinking you left because you were scared. Or smart. Or both. Ezra chose that moment to drop his bottle. It hit the floor with a soft thud. And reached for Minho. Tiny hands. Bright smile. Papa. The word was clumsy. Innocent. The babbling of a baby who saw a face that looked like his own in the mirror every morning. Minho went absolutely still. His eyes, those dark, lethal eyes that had ordered men's deaths without flinching, widened, fixed on the child in Naima's arms like he was seeing a ghost. He's 8 months old. Naima's voice cracked. Do the math. Silence. The kind of silence that precedes earthquakes. Minho's gaze traveled from Ezra's face to hers, and back again, taking in the dark curls, the sharp cheekbones, the exact shade of brown in eyes that mirrored his own. You. He couldn't finish the sentence. Naima held her son tighter. I left to protect him. From your world, from me. It wasn't a question. She didn't answer. Didn't need to. Something shifted in Minho's expression. The fury bled away, leaving something rawer. More dangerous. Vulnerability. He took a step forward, then another. until he was close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his body. Close enough to see his hands shake as he reached out. Slowly, like approaching something sacred and fragile. "Can I?" Naima's instinct screamed to pull away, to run again, to protect her baby from the man whose empire was built on blood and broken bones. But Ezra was already reaching back. "Papa!" And Minho, the crime lord, the underground king, the man who'd made grown killers weep, looked at his son and shattered. His fingers brushed Ezra's tiny hand. The baby grabbed his thumb, and Minho's carefully constructed walls crumbled into dust. "His name," he whispered. "What's his name?" "Ezra. Ezra." Minho repeated it like a prayer, like a promise. His eyes were wet. "He has your smile. He has your everything else." The silence between them now was different, heavier, filled with a year of absence and a lifetime of questions. Minho looked at her, really looked, and she saw him see her exhaustion. The circles under her eyes, the cheap furniture, the life she'd built alone. "Why didn't you tell me?" Naima's laugh was hollow. "Because you're a crime lord, Minho. Because people die in your world. Because I couldn't risk him." Her voice broke. "I couldn't risk losing him the way I almost lost myself in you. You think I would have let anything happen to him? To you? I think your enemies don't care what you allow." Truth landed like a blow. Minho's jaw clenched. Because she was right. In his world, love was a liability. Family was a target painted on your back. Caring about anything made you weak. And yet, he looked at his son, and felt something shift in his chest. Something stronger than fear, stronger than the empire he'd built. Stronger than survival. "I would have chosen you," he said quietly. "Both of you. Over everything." Naima's eyes filled. "You don't get to choose. Your world already chose for you. Then I'll change the world." The certainty in his voice sent chills down her spine. Because she knew him. Knew that when Kang Minho made a promise, cities burned to keep it. Ezra yawned, rubbing his eyes. Minho's expression softened. "He's tired. It's past his bedtime." Naima hesitated. "You should go." "No." One word. Absolute. Minho's gaze locked on hers. "I've missed a year. 8 months and 9 before that. I'm not missing another second." "Minho, I'm his father." His voice dropped, deadly serious. "And you're the woman I never stopped loving. Even when I hated you for leaving. Even when I wanted to burn the world down to find you." He stepped closer. "I found you now, and I'm not leaving." Naima's heart hammered. "This isn't a choice." "You're right." Minho's smile was gentle, terrifying. "It's a fact. Get used to it." Ezra's head drooped against her shoulder. And standing in her tiny apartment, facing the man who could destroy her with a word and protect her with the same breath, Naima realized something. She'd never really escaped. You can't outrun a man who owns the shadows. Minho didn't leave. He watched her put Ezra to bed like a man memorizing scripture. Every gentle touch, every whispered lullaby. The way she smoothed their son's curls back from his forehead. The kiss she pressed to his temple. He stood in the doorway of the small bedroom, and Naima felt his presence like heat against her back. When she finally turned, he was still there, waiting, patient in a way that terrified her because Kang Minho was never patient. He took what he wanted, burned what stood in his way. But here, in the soft glow of a nightlight shaped like a moon, he was something else entirely. Human. "He looks peaceful," Minho said quietly. Naima moved past him, pulling the door half closed. "He is, and I'd like to keep it that way." In the living room, the distance between them felt both infinite and non-existent. She wrapped her arms around herself. He leaned against the wall, hands in his pockets, watching her with those eyes that saw too much. "How did you find me?" she asked. "You used your real name at the clinic." His voice was soft, factual. "The pediatrician's office. I have people everywhere, Naima. You know that." She did. God, she did. "I was careful. You were brilliant." He pushed off the wall. "It took me 11 months. 11 months of chasing ghosts and shadows. Most people would have given up. But not you. Never me. The weight of that truth settled between them. Minho moved to the window. Outside, the city glittered like broken glass. His city, his kingdom. The empire he'd inherited at 23 when his father's enemies put a bullet in the old man's chest. "Do you remember the last night?" he asked. "Before you left?" Naima's breath caught. "Minho, we were at the penthouse. You were wearing that blue dress, the one that made you look like midnight." His reflection in the glass was haunted. "I told you I loved you. You said it back. And then you kissed me like you were memorizing the taste. Please don't. The next morning, you were gone." He turned. No note. No explanation. Just empty drawers and silence. Tears burned her eyes. "I found out I was pregnant 3 days before that night." Minho went still. "I took 7 tests," she continued, her voice breaking. 7. Because I couldn't believe it. Because we'd been so careful. Because I knew... She pressed a hand to her mouth. "I knew what it would mean." What would it mean? That I'd have to choose. Between loving you and protecting our baby. Naima looked at him. Really looked. "Your enemies don't just kill you, Minho. They destroy everything you love. Your father's rivals murdered his wife. His daughter. They burned his entire family to ash before they came for him." Minho's jaw clenched. "That was different." "It wasn't." She stepped closer. "You told me yourself. You said loving someone in your world is painting a target on their chest. You said the moment your enemies know you care about something, they'll use it to break you. So you left to protect him. To protect both of you." Her voice dropped. "Because if they killed him, it would destroy you. And if they used him to control you, it would destroy everything you built. Either way, we'd all lose." Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Minho's hands flexed at his sides. "You don't think I could have kept you safe? I think you would have tried, and I think it would have cost you everything." Naima's voice softened. "You're the underground king, Minho. But kings can't show weakness, can't have soft spots, can't love?" The word hung between them like smoke. She didn't answer. Minho crossed the space between them in 3 strides. Close now. Too close. She could see the gold flecks in his dark eyes. The scar on his left eyebrow from a fight when he was 16. The slight tremor in his breathing. "You're wrong," he said quietly, intensely. "About all of it. Minho, I would have burned my empire to the ground before I let anything happen to you. To him." His hand rose, hovering near her face but not touching. "Not yet. You think my enemies are my greatest threat? They're not. My greatest threat is living without you. It's waking up every morning in a world where I don't know if you're alive, if you're safe, if you..." His voice cracked. Naima's walls trembled. "I've killed men for less than what you did to me," he whispered. "But standing here, looking at you, seeing my son sleeping in the next room..." He closed his eyes. "All I want is to hold you, to make up for every second I missed, to be the man you needed me to be a year ago. You can't just... watch me." His hand finally touched her face. Gentle. Reverent. Like she was made of light and lies, and everything sacred. Naima's breath hitched. "This doesn't change anything. It changes everything. Your world is still dangerous. Then I'll make it safe." His thumb brushed her cheek. "I'll dismantle every threat, eliminate every enemy, build walls so high nothing can touch you. You can't control everything. No." His smile was sad, determined. "But I can control who lives and who disappears. And anyone who even thinks about touching my family will learn why they call me the Reaper." The nickname sent chills through her. The Reaper. Because Minho didn't just kill his enemies, he erased them. Made them vanish so completely their own mothers forgot their names. "This is exactly what I was afraid of," Naima whispered. "You becoming this. I've always been this." His forehead touched hers. "You just made me want to be more." For a moment they stood like that, breathing the same air, existing in the space between what was and what could never be. Then Ezra cried out. A small sound. A sleepy whimper. They both turned toward the bedroom. "I'll go," Minho said. "You don't know. Then teach me." Something in his voice stopped her. something raw and desperate and entirely human. She watched him walk to Ezra's room, watched him pause at the door like he was entering a temple, watched the most dangerous man she'd ever known approach a crib with hands that had broken bones and necks, now trembling as they reached for his son. Ezra's crying stopped the moment Minho picked him up. The baby looked at his father with wide, curious eyes, and Minho looked back like he was seeing God. "Hey," he whispered. "Hey, little king, I'm—" His voice broke. "I'm your dad." Ezra grabbed his finger, held on tight, and Minho, the crime lord, the underground king, the man who'd built an empire on fear, smiled. Actually smiled. Naima's heart shattered and rebuilt itself in the same breath, because she realized something terrifying. She'd never stopped loving him, and now, watching him hold their son, she knew she never would. He stayed. Not just that night, but the next morning, and the one after that. Minho didn't ask permission. He simply existed in her space like gravity, unavoidable, undeniable, absolute. He learned Ezra's schedule, the way he liked his bottle warm but not hot, how he giggled when you blew raspberries on his stomach, that he refused to sleep without his stuffed elephant. Naima watched the transformation with equal parts wonder and terror, because this version of Minho, the gentle one, the patient one, the one who sang Korean lullabies at 3 a.m, was more dangerous than the crime lord. This one she could fall for again. This one she already had. On the third morning, she found him in the kitchen. He'd bought groceries. Real groceries. Not the cheap staples she stretched between paychecks, but fresh vegetables, quality meat, ingredients she'd forgotten existed. "You don't have to. I want to." He was making breakfast, actually cooking, the sleeves of his white shirt rolled up, revealing forearms marked with scars and stories. "When's the last time someone took care of you?" The question landed like a punch. Naima sat down. "I take care of myself. That's not what I asked." She didn't answer. Minho set a plate in front of her. Eggs, toast, fruit arranged like art. He'd even remembered she took her coffee black with 1 sugar. "Eat," he said gently. "You're too thin." "I'm fine." "Naima." His eyes locked on hers. "Eat." So she did. And it was the best meal she'd had in a year. They fell into a rhythm. Fragile. Temporary. Like dancing on the edge of a blade. Minho left for a few hours each day. "Business," he said. She didn't ask what kind. Didn't want to know how many lives ended in the time it took him to kiss Ezra goodbye and return smelling like expensive cologne and expensive sins. But he always came back. Always. With gifts, a new crib, clothes that actually fit, toys that made Ezra laugh. Once he brought her a dress, deep blue like the night, and said nothing. Just hung it in her closet like a promise. "You can't buy your way into our lives," she said one evening. They were on the couch, Ezra asleep between them, the TV playing something neither watched. Minho's gaze was steady. "I'm not trying to buy anything. I'm trying to give you what you should have had all along." "What's that?" "Help. Partnership." He paused. "Me?" Naima's throat tightened. "You say that now. But what happens when your world crashes into this one? When someone figures out the feared Kang Minho has a weakness? Then they die. Simple. Cold. Absolute." She looked at him. "You can't kill everyone. Watch me." The terrifying part was, she believed him. Minho shifted, careful not to wake Ezra. "I've been thinking. Dangerous." His lip quirked, almost a smile. "There's a house, outside the city, gated, secure. It has a yard. Room for him to grow." He glanced at their son. "Room for all of us." Naima's heart stopped. "Minho, I'm not asking you to marry me." Yet, his eyes said, "I'm asking you to let me protect you. Both of you. The way I should have been doing all along. By locking us in a gilded cage. By giving you a home." His voice softened. "You're living in a 1-bedroom apartment, working 2 jobs, stretching every dollar until it screams. Don't think I haven't noticed. Don't think I don't see how exhausted you are. I'm managing. You're surviving." He reached over Ezra, his hand covering hers. "Let me give you more than that. Let me give you a life. Tears burned. At what cost? None. His grip tightened. I'm not asking you to be part of my world. I'm asking to be part of yours. Those are the same thing. No. His eyes were fierce. My world is violence and blood and power. Yours is this. Him. Lullabies and bottle feedings and quiet mornings. I don't want to bring darkness into your light. I want to... He stopped, swallowed hard. I want to be worthy of it. Naima stared at him. At this man who'd ordered executions without flinching, now looking at his sleeping son like he held the universe in 8-month-old hands. You're asking me to trust you. I'm asking you to let me earn it. The honesty in his voice undid her. Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. Once, twice, insistent. Minho's expression shifted. The softness bled away, replaced by something harder, colder. The crime lord returning. He glanced at the screen. His jaw tightened. I have to go. Now? Now. He stood carefully, kissing Ezra's forehead. Then he looked at her. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone. I'll text you when I'm coming back. Fear crept up her spine. What's wrong? Nothing you need to worry about. Minho. He cupped her face, kissed her forehead. A benediction. A promise. I'll handle it. Then he was gone. And Naima sat in the sudden silence, holding their son, wondering what kind of hell was brewing in the shadows. 3 hours later, her phone lit up. Not a text. A news alert. Breaking. Explosion rocks downtown nightclub. Multiple casualties. Authorities investigating. Her blood ran cold. She knew that club. Minho owned it. Her hands shook as she called him. Once. Twice. Voicemail. Pick up, she whispered. Please pick up. Nothing. Ezra stirred in his crib, sensing her panic. She tried again. And again. The 6th call went through. Naima. His voice was rough, distant. Are you okay? The news? I'm fine. Where are you? Silence. Minho, where? Handling it. Background noise, shouting, someone crying. I'll be home soon. That was your club. I know what it was. His tone shifted. Darker. Go to sleep. I'll be there before morning. Don't lie to me. I'm not. A pause. I love you. The line went dead. And Naima stood frozen, her phone clutched in shaking hands, realizing the truth she'd been avoiding. His world hadn't crashed into hers. It already had. And there was no going back. He came back at dawn. Naima hadn't slept. Couldn't. She'd spent the night watching news coverage, each update more horrific than the last. 7 dead, dozen injured. The explosion wasn't an accident. It was a message. She heard his key in the lock, quiet, controlled, like he was trying not to wake the dead, but she was already standing in the kitchen, arms wrapped around herself, when he walked in. Minho looked like war. His suit jacket was gone. His white shirt had smoke stains. There was blood on his collar. Not his, she prayed, and his eyes held the kind of emptiness that came after witnessing hell. You're awake, he said quietly. Did you think I'd sleep? Her voice shook. 7 people died, Minho. I know. Your club wasn't the target. He moved past her to the sink, washed his hands. The water ran pink. I was. The words hit like bullets. Naima's knees went weak. What? Rival family, the Kozlovs. He dried his hands methodically. They've been making moves for months, testing boundaries. Tonight they crossed a line. By killing innocent people. By trying to kill me. His gaze met hers. I wasn't there. I was here. With you. With Ezra. His jaw tightened. They thought I'd be at the club. I'm always at the club on Tuesday nights. But I changed my routine. Because of us, the unspoken words hung heavy. So people died because you weren't there? People died because the Kozlovs are animals. His voice hardened. And now they'll learn what happens when you come for what's mine. The cold certainty in his tone sent ice through her veins. What are you going to do? What I always do. He looked at her. Handle it. Handle it how? Silence. She stepped closer. Tell me. If we're doing this, If you're asking to be part of our lives, I need to know what that means. Minho's expression was unreadable. You don't want to know. Yes, I do. No. He moved toward her. You want to believe I'm something I'm not, that I can be soft and safe and good. But that's not who I am, Naima. I'm the man who makes problems disappear, the one who ends wars by being more terrifying than the alternative. So you're going to kill them. I'm going to erase them. His voice dropped. Every Kozlov, every associate, every person who knew about that bomb and didn't stop it. By the end of the week, they won't exist. Not even as memories. Naima's heart hammered. And this is what you want Ezra to inherit? This legacy of blood? The question struck like a blade. Minho flinched. Actually flinched. No, he whispered. God, no. Then what's the alternative? He turned away, faced the window. The city was waking up beyond the glass, oblivious to the war brewing in its shadows. I've been thinking about that, he said quietly, since the moment I held him. Since I realized he has your smile and my eyes and a future I never had. His shoulders tensed. My father built this empire. My grandfather before him. 3 generations of blood and bodies and broken things. And you want to end it. I want to transform it. He looked back at her. Go legitimate. Clean. Wash the money. Sell the clubs. Cut ties with anyone still in the life. Build something Ezra can inherit without becoming a monster. Hope and fear warred in her chest. That's not possible. It's never been done. Not successfully. His smile was grim. But I'm not most men. The Kozlovs are the last obstacle. His eyes hardened. Once they're gone, the other families will fall in line or fall apart. I'll be the last king standing, and then I'll abdicate. Naima stared at him. You're serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. He crossed to her, took her hands. I can't undo what I've done. Can't bring back the people I've hurt or killed. But I can make sure Ezra grows up, knowing his father chose him over power. Tears spilled. What if they come for him first? What if they won't? His grip tightened. I've already moved security into place. The building is being watched. So is this block. Anyone who doesn't belong gets identified and dealt with before they get close. Dealt with. Removed. His voice was steel. Not killed. Not unless they force my hand. I'm trying, Naima. To be better. For you. For him. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. But believing Kang Minho meant accepting that love and violence could exist in the same breath. That the hands holding hers had also ended lives. That the man promising her safety was the same one the city feared. I don't know if I can do this, she whispered. Then don't. He released her hands. Stepped back. I'll still protect you. Both of you. You'll never want for anything. Ezra will have everything I can give him. But if you can't love me, his voice cracked. If you can't see past what I am, I see exactly what you are. She closed the distance. That's what terrifies me. Their eyes locked. You see a monster, he said. I see a man trying not to be one. Her hand touched his chest, felt his heartbeat. And I'm terrified that trying won't be enough. Minho's hand covered hers. What if it is? What if it's not? From the bedroom, Ezra began to cry. The sound shattered the moment. They moved together. A dance they'd learned in days. She took the baby. He warmed the bottle. They existed in the small space like planets orbiting the same impossible sun. Naima fed their son while Minho watched, memorizing, learning, becoming something new. I'm moving you, he said finally. Today, the house I mentioned. It's ready. Minho, this isn't negotiable. His tone left no room for argument. After last night, you're not safe here. Ezra's not safe here. The Kozlovs know about you now. They'll use that. Fear spiked. How do they know? Because someone talked. His expression went cold. Someone in my organization saw me here, followed me, sold that information. What did you do to them? Silence. She didn't ask again. Pack what matters. Minho continued. Everything else I'll replace. We leave in 2 hours. We? I'm not leaving you alone. Not now. Not ever. He looked at Ezra. He's already lost a year of having his father. I won't let him lose another day. Naima's throat tightened. What about your empire? Your war? I'll handle both. His smile was sharp, deadly. I'm very good at multitasking. And watching him hold his son while planning the destruction of his enemies, Naima realized something. She wasn't just in love with a crime lord. She was in love with a man trying to burn his crown for a chance at redemption. And that was either the most beautiful thing in the world, or the most tragic. The house was a fortress disguised as a dream. 20 minutes outside the city, gated, guarded, surrounded by trees that whispered secrets to the wind. Inside, it was something else entirely. Light, space, rooms designed for living, not surviving. A nursery that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Windows that framed the sky like art. It's too much, Naima whispered. Minho carried Ezra through the entrance. It's exactly enough. She walked through rooms that smelled like new paint and possibility, touched furniture that cost more than she'd made in years, stood in the kitchen where marble counters gleamed and appliances hummed with quiet efficiency. When did you... 3 months ago. He set Ezra down on a soft rug. The baby immediately crawled toward a basket of toys. When I started getting close to finding you, I wanted to be ready. You bought a house before you even knew if I knew. His eyes met hers. I always knew. The certainty in his voice should have angered her. Instead, it made her want to cry. Because he'd built this sanctuary, this home. Not for himself, but for them. Their security, he continued. Cameras, armed guards who rotate every 6 hours, panic rooms on each floor, underground exit if we need it. He saw her expression. I know it sounds like a prison. It sounds like you're expecting war. I'm preparing for it. He moved closer. The Kozlovs won't stop. Not until they're gone, or I am. So until this is over, you stay here, safe, hidden. And you? I go hunting. The word sent chills through her. Naima looked at Ezra, their son, playing with toys, oblivious to the violence circling their lives like wolves. How long? She asked. How long until it's over? A week, maybe less. His jaw tightened. I'm calling in every favor, activating every asset. The Kozlovs have enemies. I'm making them allies. You're starting a war. I'm ending one. He turned her to face him. This is the last time. After this, I'm done. No more empires, no more bloodshed, just... He glanced at Ezra. Just us. She wanted to believe him. God, how she wanted to. But belief required trust. And trust required forgetting every reason she'd run a year ago. What if you can't walk away? She whispered. What if this world won't let you? Then I'll burn it down until it does. Before she could respond, his phone buzzed. He checked it. His expression darkened. I have to go. Now? Now. He kissed Ezra's head, then hers. Stay inside. Don't answer the door for anyone except my men. You'll recognize them. They wear black, no visible weapons, and they'll use the code word fortress before entering. Minho, I'll call every hour. He was already moving toward the door. If I don't, if you even suspect something's wrong, hit the red button in the master bedroom. It'll lock down the house and alert my most trusted men. Fear clawed up her throat. What's happening? He paused, looked back, and for just a moment, she saw past the crime lord to the man beneath, scared, determined, fighting for something more important than power. I'm keeping you safe, he said. That's all that matters. Then he was gone. And Naima stood in her beautiful fortress, holding her son, wondering if safety and love could ever truly coexist in Minho's world. The days blurred together. Minho kept his promise, called every hour, sometimes just to hear her voice, sometimes to listen to Ezra babble. Once, at 3 a.m, just to say he missed the way she smelled like vanilla and home. But he didn't come back. Soon, he'd say. Just a little longer. The guards rotated, silent, professional. They never looked at her directly, never spoke unless necessary. She felt like a queen in a tower, protected, isolated, waiting for a prince who was currently dismantling an empire. On the 4th day, One of the guards brought news. The Kozlov estate burned last night, he said without emotion. Total loss. No survivors. Naima's blood went cold. How many? 17 confirmed. 17 people, gone, erased, because they'd threatened her son. She should have felt relief, safety, victory. Instead, she felt sick. That night, Minho called as promised. I heard, she said. Silence. Tell me you didn't. It wasn't me. His voice was tired. Not directly. Kozlov's own men turned on him. Apparently loyalty has a price, and I paid it. So you bought their deaths. I bought our future. He paused. Does that make you hate me? Naima closed her eyes. It makes me understand why I left. And why you stayed away. Yes. More silence. Then, I'm coming home tomorrow. It's over. The Kozlovs are gone. Their allies scattered. The other families accepted my terms. What terms? Peace, transition. In 6 months, my empire goes legitimate or goes dark. Anyone who wants to stay criminal finds a new king. His voice softened. I choose you, both of you, over all of it. Tears spilled. What if it's not enough? Then I'll keep choosing you until it is. The call ended, and Naima sat in the nursery, watching Ezra sleep, wondering if redemption was even possible for a man who'd built his throne on bones. He arrived at dawn, exhausted, haunted, but alive. Minho stood in the doorway of the nursery, watching her rock their son. He didn't speak, didn't move, just existed in the space between who he'd been and who he was trying to become. Finally, Naima whispered, Is it really over? The war? Yes. And everything else? He crossed to her, knelt beside the rocking chair, took her free hand. I won't lie and say I'm suddenly clean, that there's no blood on my hands or darkness in my past. His thumb brushed her knuckles. But I swear on his life, he looked at Ezra. I'm done. No more kills, no more empire. Just a man trying to be worthy of his family. What if I can't forgive you? Then I'll spend forever earning it. Naima looked at him, really looked, saw the exhaustion, the determination, the love that had survived a year of separation and 4 days of war. I never stopped loving you, she confessed. Even when I hated you for what you were. Even when I ran. I never stopped. Minho's eyes closed. Say it again. I love you. Her voice broke. I'm terrified and angry and so in love with you it hurts. He rose, pulled her up, careful of the baby between them, and kissed her, soft, desperate, a promise written in breath and touch. When they broke apart, Ezra stirred, opened his eyes, looked at his parents together and smiled. And in that moment, Naima chose to believe, in second chances, in redemption, in a love strong enough to survive empires and ashes. 6 months later, the news broke on a Tuesday. Crime lord turned philanthropist, Kang Minho announces $1 billion foundation. Naima read the headline 3 times before believing it. She found him in the garden, Ezra toddling beside him, chasing butterflies with sticky hands and pure joy. You actually did it, she said. Minho looked up, smiled, the kind of smile that no longer carried shadows. I told you I would. I know, but saying and doing are the same thing when you love someone enough. He caught Ezra as the baby stumbled, lifted him high. Their son's laughter rang like bells. Naima watched them, father and son, 2 people who shouldn't exist together but did anyway. The foundation will focus on education, Minho continued, getting kids out of the life before they get in, breaking cycles. He looked at her. Everything I didn't have. And the empire? Dissolved, sold, donated. He set Ezra down. Some of my old associates went independent. Most went legitimate. The rest, he shrugged, found new kings. And the Kozlov's enemies, scattered, uninterested in revenge against a man who no longer holds power. His smile was slight. Turns out when you stop being a threat, people stop trying to eliminate you. Naima moved closer. Any regrets? Just one. He pulled her against him. That I didn't do this sooner. That Ezra's first word wasn't Dada, because I was there every day, Not just after destroying my enemies. He said it last week. Minho's eyes widened. What? You were on the phone, handling the last of the legal transfers. He looked right at you and said, Dada. She smiled. You started crying. Don't pretend you don't remember. I remember everything. His voice was rough. Every moment, every second I get to be his father. He paused. Your partner, if you'll have me. Naima's heart stuttered. What? Minho pulled back, reached into his pocket. A box, small, velvet, black. I know I don't deserve you, he said quietly. I know I've done things that can't be forgiven. That there's blood in my past and darkness in my soul. He opened the box. Inside, a ring. Simple. Beautiful. But I also know I love you more than I've loved anything. That you made me believe redemption was possible. That our son exists because you were brave enough to choose life over fear. Tears blurred her vision. Marry me, Minho whispered. Not because I'm asking. Not because I think I've earned it. But because I want to spend the rest of my life proving I can be the man you see when you look at me. Naima's hand covered her mouth. Ezra toddled over, grabbed his father's leg. Dada? Minho looked down, then up at her. What do you say? Will you let this reformed crime lord try to be a decent husband? She should have said no. Should have remembered the bodies, the blood, the empire built on fear. But she looked at him, really looked, and saw only the man who'd burned it all down for a chance at forever. Yes, she whispered. Minho's smile could have lit the world. He slipped the ring on her finger, kissed her like she was oxygen, and he'd been drowning. Ezra clapped. Mama, Dada? They broke apart, laughing, crying, holding their son between them. We're really doing this? Naima asked. We're really doing this. Minho kissed Ezra's head, building something new, something clean, something he can be proud of. And if the past comes back, then we face it together. His hand found hers. No more running, no more secrets, just us. Naima looked at the house, the garden, the life they'd built from ashes and impossible choices. I love you, she said. I know. Minho grinned. You told me 6 months ago. I've been holding on to that confession like treasure. Say it back. I love you. He pulled her close. I love you more than power, more than empires, more than the life I had before you. And Ezra? I love him more than breathing. His voice cracked. He's the reason I became someone worth being. The three of them stood there. In the garden. In the life they'd chosen. And for the first time since leaving a year ago, Naima believed in happy endings. Not perfect. Not clean. But theirs. Epilogue. 1 year later, Ezra took his first real steps. Not toward toys, not toward furniture, toward his father. Minho caught him, lifted him high. And in that moment, holding his son, kissing his wife, standing in a home built on redemption rather than ruin, the former crime lord realized something.